Holly Winters never planned to leave the city, let alone spend Christmas in Coyote Creek, a dusty western town tucked below the snow-glittering Rockies. Yet there she stood, suitcase in hand and phone with no signal, staring at a faded sign that read, "Welcome to Coyote Creek, where legends ride." Holly had been sent by her late grandfather's lawyers to secure paperwork for his old ranch, a place she barely remembered from childhood. She only planned to stay long enough to sign, sell, and sprint back to skyscrapers and cappuccinos. Cue the sleigh bells. A horse suddenly bolted down Main Street, dragging behind it a wagon stacked with Christmas wreaths. A cowboy sprinted after it, his hat nearly flying off. He leapt, landed on the wagon, pulled the reins, and brought the runaway ride to a stop right in front of her. He flashed a grin that could thaw December. "Snow's got the horses spooked," he drawled. "Welcome to Coyote Creek." The cowboy was Luke Carson, owner of the neighboring ranch, local rodeo legend, and a man convinced that city folks didn't understand the land. Especially this one. Holly rolled her eyes at his arrogance, even if his eyes reminded her of soft, warm cocoa. What follows? A clash of worlds. She tried to sign papers quickly. He insisted her grandfather would have wanted her to stay, at least for Christmas Eve's annual Starlight Rodeo, the event that funds the town's community Christmas. Holly's attempts to stay detached crumbled as she met the townsfolk. Millie, the cookie-baking widow who knitted hope into every pair of mittens. Sheriff Briggs, a big-hearted protector with a jingle bell laugh. Pastor Joe, leader of the choir that wouldn't stop rehearsing. Silent Night. With every moment, Holly was reluctantly drawn into a world she once adored. Meanwhile, Luke found himself stealing glances at the woman who refused to ride a horse but defended the Christmas fundraiser from budget cuts with the fire of a rodeo champion. The ranch stirred memories for Holly. Riding horses with her grandfather, the smell of cinnamon biscuits, the nights he pointed out stars. The town needed the ranch, its land, its spirit. Selling it meant shutting down their beloved rodeo and Christmas miracle. Feelings tangled like garland around a tree. The first snowfall arrived, white and pure, like a reminder that love can return. Luke offered his hand to help her up on a horse again, just like years ago. "You're braver than you think," he whispered as snowflakes kissed her cheeks. Hearts raced. Almost a kiss. Until a call came through. A buyer, wealthy, eager, and ready to turn the ranch into a luxury resort. Holly's ticket back to the city. The townspeople overheard. The joy drained from their winter-bright faces. Even Luke stepped back, hurt forming a wall higher than any mountain. The chapter closes with Holly alone beneath the giant town Christmas tree, lights twinkling above her like stars deciding her fate. She whispers into the winter air, "I came here for a signature. Why does it feel like I found home?" Snowflakes drifted like tiny lasso loops outside the frosty window of Ruby's ranch house, each one shining with moonlight mischief. Sawyer could feel Christmas magic in the air, the sort that flirted with his heartbeat and refused to behave. He had come into this dusty town of Starlight Gulch thinking he would patch a barn roof, fix a few fences, then mosey along like tumbleweed in the wind. Yet here he was, suddenly rooted, drawn by a woman who smelled like cinnamon dreams and carried resilience the way others carried revolvers. Ruby, meanwhile, tried her best to keep her heart locked tight, buried deeper than gold in the blackjack mine. She hustled around her kitchen, preparing her famous prairie spice cocoa. Her hair cascaded, like a stormy sunset, and her voice, calm as newly fallen snow, disguised the thunder inside her chest whenever Sawyer's eyes landed on her. The fire crackled. The Christmas tree Sawyer had helped decorate stood proudly nearby, dotted with copper ornaments and a single shining star handcrafted by Ruby's father years ago. Memories flickered in Ruby like lantern light, filling her with warmth and sorrow in equal measure. Sawyer cleared his throat, his voice softer than he intended. "Ruby, that night at the gala, when we danced, it wasn't pretend. Not for me." Her hand paused mid-reach for a mug. Snow fell harder. Coyotes in the distance howled like they knew something wondrous was about to unfold. "I don't do fairy tales," she whispered, holding her breath like the truth might break if it escaped too fast. "I don't get happily ever afters. They rode out of town long ago. What if they circled back?" Sawyer stepped closer, boots brushing across the wooden floor. "What if you deserve a Christmas miracle?" Ruby faced him, courage trembling inside her chest. "You're a drifter, Sawyer. A sweet-talking cowboy with a kind smile. You'll leave once the snow melts. He shook his head. Only place I'm drifting is toward you. Before she could muster a reply, someone pounded on the door. A cold gust burst in with McKenna Prescott, Starlight Gulch's fiery mayor and Ruby's old rival. Her dress was winter white velvet, stunning enough to make icicles jealous. Well, look what the reindeer dragged in, she smirked. The charity gala sponsors are demanding answers. Ruby, you can't just withdraw mid-event. The Christmas festival needs that headline centerpiece. Ruby stiffened. Sawyer stepped instinctively in front of her, protective as a shield. McKenna's eyes sharpened like sleet. She recognized challenge when she saw it. The festival doesn't need fancy lights. Ruby's voice steadied like a horse finding its stride. It needs heart. Her gaze shifted to Sawyer. It needs people willing to show up when it matters. McKenna's irritation cracked through her sugar-coated composure. If you two think you can just... Suddenly the door burst wider as children of the town streamed in, giggling and breathless. Ruby. Mr. Sawyer. The tree downtown collapsed in the storm. A little girl cried. We need help or Christmas will be ruined. Sawyer didn't hesitate. Grab all the rope you have. We're bringing Christmas back. Ruby's pulse raced. She nodded, grabbing her coat, stepping directly into the wild winter night beside him. McKenna watched with narrowed eyes as the cowboy and the woman she could never quite defeat took off together. Torches lit the town square. The great evergreen lay toppled, its decorations scattered like broken dreams. Villagers murmured with worry, their hope as wobbly as a newborn calf. Sawyer climbed up the fallen trunk, snow-dusting his hat. Nobody quits on Christmas in Starlight Gulch. His voice boomed strong as a church bell. Not while we have each other. Cheers erupted. Hearts thawed. Ruby helped secure ropes, her voice guiding volunteers with strength and tenderness that could warm a desert night. McKenna, witnessing the unity stirred by Ruby instead of herself, slowly joined in too, grudging admiration thawing her frosty pride. With a mighty heave the tree lifted skyward, rising like a miracle reborn. Multicolored lights flickered to life, brighter than ever, as though Christmas itself refused to give up. The townsfolk gathered around it, singing carols that wrapped the night in joy. Children hung handmade ornaments, each one a promise that love still lived here. Sawyer found Ruby beneath the shining star. Snowflakes tangled in her lashes, turning her eyes into glittering galaxies. Without thinking he brushed a cold curl from her cheek, his gloved fingertips trembling. Ruby, he murmured, you give people hope, including me. She swallowed, the truth finally too strong to deny. Sawyer Montgomery, I may just want you to stay. His smile lit up brighter than the star above them. Then I ain't goin' nowhere. Music swelled. The whole town watched the pair draw closer, breath visible, hearts invisible yet unmistakably aligned. Sawyer leaned in, and Ruby met him halfway, lips touching with the soft certainty of a future finally beginning. Applause rang across the square, as if the entire Wild West had roots for romance after all. Ruby whispered against his forehead, laughter tickling the cold. Guess Christmas miracles do circle back. Always do, he replied, pulling her close beneath the tree that refused to fall. The star above them shone bigger, bolder, ready to guide their next ride together into the new year, and into love as vast as the frontier itself.